Welcome to our deep dive into the Roman Empire. We're going to explore how this civilization went from a tiny village to a superpower, leaving an indelible mark on the world. Our source material today dives into this fascinating journey of Rome, its legendary beginnings, incredible rise, and ultimately its fall.
Yeah, it's a story full of twists and turns, triumphs and tragedies. And the fascinating part is that we can still see Rome's influence all around us today.
Okay, so let's start at the very beginning with the legendary founding of Rome. It all starts in 753 BCE with the mythical tale of twin brothers, Romulus and Remus, raised by a she-wolf. I mean, come on, raised by a wolf. Talk about an origin story.
It certainly grabs your attention, doesn't it? But what's even more fascinating is how this small settlement, shrouded in mythology, managed to transform into a powerful monarchy and eventually a republic. It wasn't just about luck. It was about strategy, military might, and a knack for forging alliances when it mattered most.
But this rise to power, it wasn't exactly a peaceful one, was it?
Yeah.
Rome had its fair share of rivals along the way.
Absolutely. Think about the Etruscans, the Samnites, and of course the Carthaginians, each playing a crucial role in shaping Rome's destiny. The clashes with these rivals, particularly the Punic Wars against Carthage, were pivotal moments for Rome.
The Punic Wars, those are pretty brutal, weren't they?
They were, and they were also crucial for securing Rome's dominance over the Mediterranean. By defeating Carthage in 146 BCE, Rome solidified its control over the region, essentially turning the Mediterranean into a Roman lake, which had huge implications for their trade and power.
So at this point, Rome is a republic,
Oh.
a major power player. But as we know, this isn't where the story ends. We're heading toward an empire. And a pivotal figure in this shift is Julius Caesar. He's a figure who seems larger than life, a brilliant military strategist, and a shrewd politician. But ultimately, his ambition proved to be his downfall.
Caesar's ambition certainly shook the very foundation of the Roman Republic. His decision to declare himself dictator for life, although popular with some, ultimately challenged the balance of power that the Republic was built on. It's almost as if his immense success planted the seeds for the Republic's decline.
And as we know, this challenge to the Republic didn't end well for Caesar. His assassination in 44 BCE threw Rome into chaos and paved the way for a new era.
It did. And from that chaos emerged Augustus, Caesar's adopted son, who would become Rome's first emperor. Augustus was instrumental in ushering in a period known as the Pax Romana, a remarkable 200 years of peace and stability. And it wasn't just about the absence of war, it was about the flourishing of infrastructure, law, culture. It was a golden age for Rome.
When we think of the Roman Empire, this is the period that often comes to mind.
Yeah.
The grandeur, the
Yeah.
achievements, the iconic structures like the Colosseum. Speaking of the Colosseum, can you tell us a bit more about the significance of this structure and what it represents in terms of Rome's achievements during the Pax Romana?
The Colosseum is more than just a building. It's a symbol of Rome's power, engineering prowess, and perhaps its obsession with grandeur and public spectacle. Think about the sheer scale of the Colosseum. It could hold up to 80,000 spectators, and it was used for gladiatorial contests, public executions, and even mock sea battles. It's a testament to Roman engineering and their ability to create structures that were both functional and awe-inspiring.
It's amazing to think that these structures are still standing today, testaments to the ingenuity and skill of Roman engineers. But the Pax Romana wasn't just about grand structures, was it? There were also significant developments in law, infrastructure, and governance that still impact us today.
Absolutely. The Pax Romana was a period of incredible innovation and advancement. Think about the network of roads that crisscrossed the empire, allowing for efficient trade and communication across vast distances. And the aqueducts, these incredible feats of engineering, brought fresh water to Roman cities, supporting a growing population and improving public health.
And this expansion, this growth, it wasn't limited to the Italian peninsula, right?
Not at all. Under emperors like Trajan, the Roman Empire reached its peak, stretching from the deserts of North Africa to the frontiers of Britain, encompassing a diverse array of cultures and peoples. This expansion, however, brought its own set of challenges, and maintaining control over such a vast territory proved to be a daunting task.
So up to this point, it sounds like a success story. But history tells us that all empires, no matter how mighty, eventually faced decline. What were some of the cracks that started to appear in this seemingly invincible empire?
Well, for all its achievements, the Roman Empire was not immune to the pressures that plague even the most successful civilizations. Economic woes, corruption within the government, and the sheer difficulty of managing such a vast and diverse territory began to weaken the empire's foundations. Think of it like a ship that, while seemingly strong on the surface, had begun to develop leaks below the waterline.
And I'm guessing those barbarian tribes we often hear about played a role in this decline as well. Were they more a symptom of Rome's weakness or a direct cause of its decline?
That's a question historians still debate. The arrival of tribes like the Visigoths and Vandals certainly added to the strains on the empire, putting immense pressure on its borders. However, it's important to remember that these migrations were often driven by factors outside of Rome's control, such as climate change and pressure from other nomadic groups, so it was likely a combination of both. Rome's internal weaknesses made it more vulnerable to external pressures, and the arrival of these tribes exacerbated those weaknesses.
So the empire is facing internal and external challenges. Did any of the emperors attempt to address these issues and perhaps delay the inevitable?
They did. Emperor Diocletian, recognizing the immense strain on the empire, made the radical decision to divide it into eastern and western halves in 285 CE. It was a desperate attempt to make the empire more manageable, to plug those leaks, but the cracks were already too deep.
And then we have Constantine, another emperor who made a decision that would have a profound impact on the empire. His embrace of Christianity in 313 CE was a significant turning point, wasn't it?
It absolutely was. Constantine's decision to grant Christianity legal status and eventually make it the official religion of the Roman Empire had a ripple effect throughout society, influencing law, culture, and the religious landscape for centuries to come. It's a fascinating example of how empires, even in decline, can be shaped by the power of ideas and beliefs.
So despite attempts to reform and adapt, the Western Roman Empire is on a path towards its eventual fall. This date always feels significant, 476 CE, when the Western Roman Empire falls to Odoacer, a Germanic chieftain. It's often seen as the symbolic end of ancient Rome, even though, as our source suggests, the story doesn't truly end there.
Right. That date marks the fall of the Western Roman Empire, but the Eastern Roman Empire, also known as the Byzantine Empire, continued to thrive for another 1,000 years, preserving and adapting many Roman traditions and influencing the development of Eastern Europe and the Middle East. So in a sense, the story of Rome doesn't end in 476 CE. It continues in a different form, in a different part of the world.
And this brings us to a really interesting point that our source highlights. The idea that Rome wasn't just an empire, but an idea. What does that mean? How did its influence extend beyond its political boundaries and even its eventual collapse?
That's where we delve into the concept of Rome's enduring legacy, which we'll explore in our next segment. We'll uncover how Rome's influence went far beyond its political lifespan, shaping law, language, architecture, and thought in ways that we still see today. It's a legacy that's both fascinating and incredibly complex.
Welcome back to our deep dive into the Roman Empire. Before the break, we were talking about the fall of the Western Roman Empire and how the story of Rome doesn't truly end there. It's amazing to think about the reach of Rome's influence, even beyond its political boundaries and across centuries.
It is. It's a testament to the power of ideas, innovations, and cultural contributions. Even though the empire itself crumbled, these elements continued to resonate, shaping the course of history and leaving a mark on the world we live in today.
So let's dive into this enduring legacy, this idea of Rome that persists. Where do we even begin to unpack something so vast?
Well, we could start with something tangible, like the Roman legal system. Think about it. Concepts like due process, property rights, the presumption of innocence. These cornerstones of many modern legal systems have roots in Roman law. It's incredible how these principles, established centuries ago, still form the bedrock of legal systems around the world.
It's like a legal echo reverberating through time. But wasn't the Roman legal system inherently flawed, given its dependence on slavery? How can a system that allowed for such injustice be considered a foundation for modern justice?
That's a valid point. And it highlights the complexities of historical legacies. The Roman legal system while groundbreaking in many ways, was indeed built on a foundation that included deeply problematic practices like slavery. It's a reminder that we need to critically examine historical legacies, acknowledging both their achievements and their flaws. However, despite these flaws, the core principles of Roman law, the emphasis on written law, legal precedent, and the notion that even the most powerful individuals were subject to the law had a profound and lasting impact on the development of Western legal thought.
So it's about recognizing both the light and shadow of these historical legacies. It's not about blindly celebrating the past, but understanding how it continues to shape our present. What about other areas where Rome's influence is still felt today?
Well beyond the legal realm, we can see Rome's fingerprints all over architecture and engineering. Even today, we marvel at the ingenuity of their structures. From the Colosseum to the Pantheon, the aqueducts to the Roman road system, these weren't just feats of engineering, they were statements of power, practicality, and an enduring belief in the importance of public works.
Speaking of those roads, it's incredible to think about the sheer scale of the Roman road system. Thousands of miles of roads, paved with stone, connecting different parts of this vast empire. It's an image that speaks to their ambition, their drive to connect and control, but also their understanding of the importance of infrastructure in building and maintaining an empire. But wasn't this incredible infrastructure also built on the backs of forced labor and exploitation?
That's an important point to consider. While we admire the grandeur and scale of these projects, it's crucial to remember that they were often built using forced labor, including slaves and conquered peoples. The story of Roman infrastructure is unfortunately intertwined with the darker aspects of their imperial expansion and exploitation.
It seems like every time we uncover a remarkable achievement, there's a shadow lurking behind it, reminding us that history is rarely a simple narrative of progress.
Precisely. And it's our responsibility as students of history to engage with this complexity, to appreciate the achievements, while also confronting the uncomfortable truths that often lie beneath the surface. But let's shift our focus for a moment to another area where Rome's influence is undeniable: language. Think about the Romance languages: French, Spanish, Italian, Portuguese, Romanian, all descended from Latin, the language of the Roman Empire. It's incredible how the echoes of this ancient language are still heard in the everyday conversations of millions of people around the world.
It's like carrying a piece of ancient Rome in our tongues. But wasn't Latin primarily the language of the elite in Roman society? How did it become so widespread and influential, even in the wake of the empire's collapse?
That's a fascinating question, and it speaks to the complex ways languages evolve and spread. While Latin was initially associated with Roman administration, law, and culture, it gradually spread through trade, military interactions, and cultural exchange. Even after the fall of the Western Roman Empire, Latin continued to be used in religious contexts, in scholarship, and as a lingua franca for communication across different regions. This sustained use, coupled with the emergence of regional dialects, ultimately led to the evolution of the Romance languages we know today.
It's like a linguistic ripple effect, spreading outward from Rome and transforming the linguistic landscape of Europe. But Rome's legacy isn't just about tangible things like laws, buildings, and languages. It's also about ideas
Beliefs.
and cultural values that have shaped Western thought.
Absolutely, the Romans, inspired by the Greeks, embraced philosophy, literature, and the arts, making significant contributions to these fields. Their works explored themes of power, duty, fate, love, and the human condition, themes that continue to resonate with us today. Think about writers like Virgil, Horace, Ovid, historians like Livy and Tacitus, and philosophers like Seneca and Marcus Aurelius. Their works provide a window into the Roman mind, offering insights into their values, beliefs, and struggles.
So these ancient texts, these voices from the past, can still speak to us, offering perspectives on the human experience that transcend time and place. But didn't the Romans also have a rather brutal side? Gladiatorial combats, public executions, these were forms of entertainment for them. How do we reconcile these seemingly contradictory aspects of Roman culture, their intellectual and artistic achievements, alongside their tolerance for violence and brutality?
That's one of the most intriguing and challenging aspects of studying the Romans, grappling with the contradictions inherent in their society. They were capable of great intellectual and artistic achievements, yet also capable of incredible cruelty and violence. It's a reminder that civilizations, even those that we admire for their contributions, are rarely monolithic. They contain within them a spectrum of values, beliefs, and practices, some admirable, others reprehensible.
It's a humbling reminder that we too live in a world of contradictions, and that the past is never a simple, straightforward story. It's full of complexities. And it's up to us to engage with those complexities, to learn from both the triumphs and the tragedies of those who came before us.
Precisely. And I think that's one of the most valuable lessons we can glean from studying the Roman Empire. It's not just about memorizing dates and names, but about engaging with the richness and complexity of the past, understanding how it continues to shape our present, and perhaps using those insights to navigate the challenges of our own time.
This has been a truly fascinating exploration of Rome's enduring legacy, how this ancient civilization continues to cast a long shadow over the world. But before we wrap up, I'd like to shift our focus in our final segment to some of the more intangible aspects of Roman civilization, their beliefs, their values, and their worldview. What were the underlying principles that shaped this remarkable civilization? Welcome back to our deep dive into the Roman Empire. We've traced Rome's journey from its legendary beginnings to its rise as a superpower, and explored its lasting legacy on law, language, and culture. Now, in this final part, I'm curious to delve into the more intangible aspects of Roman civilization. What were the beliefs and values that shaped their worldview?
It's a fascinating question, and one that takes us to the heart of what made Rome such a unique and enduring civilization. To understand their actions and achievements, we need to look at the bedrock of their society, the family.
Right. Our source material mentioned the importance of family and tradition in Roman society. It seems like the concept of family played a central role in their lives.
Absolutely. The family was the foundation of Roman society, and at the heart of it was the paterfamilias, the male head of the household. He held significant authority over his wife, children, and even slaves. This structure may seem rigid to us now, but it was crucial for maintaining order and continuity in their world.
It sounds like a very patriarchal society, which makes me wonder about the role of women. Did they have any agency or influence within the system?
While Roman society was undoubtedly patriarchal, with women having limited legal rights, it's important to remember that they weren't completely powerless. Women could wield influence within the family, manage property, and even engage in business.
So while the system was clearly male-dominated, there were still opportunities for women to exert some control and make their mark. That brings us to another essential aspect of Roman life: religion. What role did religion play in shaping their society and worldview?
Religion was deeply intertwined with Roman life, politics, and culture. The Romans were polytheistic, believing in a multitude of gods and goddesses, who influenced every aspect of their existence. They believed that appeasing these gods through rituals, sacrifices, and festivals was crucial for ensuring the well-being of the state and its people.
It sounds like religion wasn't just a personal matter, it was a civic duty, a way to ensure the favor of the gods for the benefit of the entire community.
Precisely. Religion was integral to Roman identity and played a significant role in their social and political life. Temples dedicated to various gods and goddesses were prominent features in their cities, and religious festivals were major public events that brought people together.
But this religious landscape changed dramatically with the rise of Christianity, right? That must have been a monumental shift for Roman society.
It was. Christianity, initially a small and persecuted sect, gradually gained followers, eventually becoming the official religion of the Roman Empire in the 4th century CE. This shift from polytheism to monotheism had a profound impact on Roman law, culture, and social values, shaping the course of Western civilization.
It's a reminder that empires aren't just about military power and territorial expansion. They're also shaped by the evolution of ideas and beliefs. The Roman Empire itself became a vessel for the spread of Christianity, a faith that would ultimately outlast the empire itself. So we've talked about family, tradition, and religion. What other values shaped the Roman worldview? What did they consider essential for a good life and a strong society?
The Romans held honor, duty, and civic virtue in high regard. These were the core principles that guided their behavior and informed their understanding of what it meant to be a good Roman citizen.
Those values seem to align with their focus on military strength and expansion. Were these values limited to the military sphere, or did they permeate other aspects of Roman life?
While these values were certainly emphasized in the military, they weren't confined to it. Roman citizens were expected to actively participate in public life, serve in government, uphold the law, and contribute to the well-being of the state. It was a society that placed a high premium on civic engagement and responsibility.
It's fascinating how these values, honor, duty, civic virtue, helped shape a civilization that achieved so much. Yet ultimately, even with these strong values, the Roman Empire fell. What are some of the key lessons we can learn from Rome's rise and fall, both its successes and its failures?
Rome's story offers a wealth of lessons for us today. One of the most important takeaways is that no civilization, no matter how powerful or well organized, is immune to decline. Even with a strong foundation of values and a remarkable capacity for innovation, empires can falter.
It's a reminder that history isn't a linear progression towards some ultimate goal.
Mm,
Civilizations like individuals face challenges, make mistakes, and sometimes, despite their best efforts, they fall.
precisely. And studying Rome's history allows us to examine these complexities, to understand how internal and external pressures, from economic woes and corruption to overexpansion and external threats, can weaken even the most formidable empires.
So what can we, as individuals living in the 21st century, take away from this deep dive into the Roman Empire? What insights from this ancient civilization might help us navigate the complexities of our own time?
Rome's story is a testament to human ambition, ingenuity, and resilience, but it also serves as a cautionary tale. It reminds us that power is fleeting, that even the grandest empires are susceptible to decline, and that the choices we make, both individually and collectively, have a profound impact on the course of history.
It's a sobering thought,
Yeah.
but also an empowering one. It means that we have the ability to learn from the past, to recognize the patterns of history, and to strive to build a more just, sustainable, and resilient world.
And perhaps most importantly, it reminds us that even in decline, civilizations can leave behind a legacy of ideas, innovations, and cultural contributions that continue to shape the world long after they are gone. Rome may have fallen, but its influence lives on, not just in the ruins of its once great cities, but in the very fabric of our societies, our laws, our languages, and our ways of thinking.
This has been a truly illuminating deep dive into the Roman Empire. We've explored its rise and fall, its triumphs and tragedies, and its enduring legacy. And for you, our listener, we leave you with this final thought. What aspects of your own life and the world around you do you see as being influenced by the Roman Empire? And what lessons, both positive and negative, can we draw from this ancient civilization as we navigate the challenges of our own time? Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep.